Malik Johnson slowly walked through the dusty streets of the city's south side, the flickering yellow streetlights casting a glow on his gaunt but determined face. At 19, an age when many were still wandering carefree, Malik was already facing challenges that many adults would shy away from. His family was not wealthy. Malik's single mother, Monica, worked 2 shifts every day to support him and his younger sister. The phone ringing loudly in the dead of night was a reminder that another exhausting day was about to begin. The small, dilapidated house was tucked behind walls covered in cracks, where the laughter of youth was drowned out by the harsh cries of a difficult life. "Malik, have you eaten dinner yet?" His mother's voice came through the living room door. "I have, Mom. I'm heading to training soon," Malik replied, his eyes shining with a glimmer of hope. Jiu-jitsu was more than just a martial art to Malik. It was hope, the only path for him to escape the vicious cycle of poverty and injustice. Since he was a child, he had learned from old videos, practicing moves on a homemade punching bag model in the garage. His poor neighborhood had no nearby martial arts schools, and attending distant ones was impossible for a boy with limited means like Malik. But in Malik's heart, the flame of passion burned brightly. He dreamed of one day standing on a big stage, proving to the world that skin color, background, or money could not block talent and willpower. However, life had never been easy. Every day he faced scrutinizing eyes, cruel words, and deep-seated prejudice. At school, his classmates often mocked him, not only because of his background, but also because of his skin color. "Just another black kid thinking he can do something," they said. Those words were like sharp knives cutting into Malik's self-esteem, but he knew he had to be strong and keep moving forward. The night before officially entering the Jiu-Jitsu Academy, Malik lay on his small bed, moonlight softly filtering through the thin curtain onto his face. He murmured, "I can do this. I won't let anyone bring me down. Not because of my skin, not because of where I come from, only because I have passion and determination." He knew many challenges lay ahead, but nothing could extinguish the fire within him. Malik stood outside the door for a moment, breathing evenly but with a rapidly beating heart. He told himself, "This is the only chance. I have to give it my all. They may look at me with contempt, but I will prove them wrong." A gentle breeze blew, sweeping away the sweat-damp hair from his forehead, as if lending strength to his steadfast steps. The jiu-jitsu training room door creaked as Malik entered, carrying his worn-out GI and a determined gaze. The small gym, flickering fluorescent lights, and the mingled smells of sweat and rubber made the air heavy. The walls were plastered with posters of famous fighters, and footsteps echoed in the cramped space. Immediately, the atmosphere thickened, like an invisible wall blocking all hope. Cold, contemptuous stares were fixed on him. Coach Davis, a white man with a brown belt, notorious for his harsh attitude, stood there with a mocking smile. His eyes scanned Malik like a strange animal, full of disdain. "Oh, another new black kid," Davis's voice cut through the room like a blade. "What do you think you can do? Just a ragged nobody." Scoffs rose from other students, mostly white, accompanied by even harsher words. "You know what? We had one like you before, and you know how that turned out," a tall young man with a defiant expression said, his tone thick with contempt. "Surely you're only lucky in your garage. Come on, fight us and see," a blue belt added, squinting at Malik like he was an alien. Malik stood there, feeling as if 1,000 knives pierced his heart, but he would not let that cruelty defeat him. He knew this was the first test, a battle not only on the mat, but also against deep-rooted societal prejudices. As the taunts continued, Malik gritted his teeth, took a deep breath, and stepped onto the mat. "All right, newbie, show me what you've got," Davis ordered coldly. Malik looked Davis straight in the eyes without a hint of fear. "I'm not here to prove anything to you, but to myself." The whispers in the gym began to stop. The silence was like a thick fog before a storm. Everyone's eyes turned to Malik, filled with skepticism, disdain, but also a hint of unclear curiosity. But Davis did not miss the chance to keep making things difficult. "You'll have to get through all of us if you want to stand here. And don't think your skin color gives you any privilege." His words acted as a catalyst, making the atmosphere even heavier. Malik felt each insult prick his soul like needles, but instead of bowing his head, he clenched his fists, his eyes flashing with determination no one could take away. That was the moment his arduous journey began, where not only martial arts techniques would be tested, but also the self-esteem and resilient will of a young black man. When Davis signaled for the blue belt student, Marcus, a tall and confident man, to step onto the mat, a muscular figure with cold eyes ready to crush his opponent, the whole gym held its breath waiting for a merciless display. The sneers continued, the crowd convinced Malik would be quickly defeated. "Don't dirty my mat," Marcus challenged, his voice dripping with contempt. "It's time to show you your place." Malik said nothing, just tightened his belt and prepared himself mentally. Marcus's first move was strong, aiming to quickly overpower the new opponent. But Malik had practiced thousands of hours in his small garage, his reflexes quicker and more agile than his skinny appearance suggested. In a split second, Malik dodged, spun around, and with a beautiful move, knocked Marcus down to the floor. The entire gym suddenly fell silent. The mocking laughter vanished, replaced by astonished sighs. However, no one gave Malik a moment's rest. Another student, Kevin, notorious for brutal and cheating moves, stepped up with a challenging look. His scarred face and slippery eyes often bore a mocking smile. "You think luck will stick with you forever? I'll show you what's real," Kevin said, immediately applying a surprise lock that nearly choked Malik. But Malik did not let himself fall. He used all his accumulated skill and strength to escape the hold, counterattacked brilliantly, and won a second time, this time earning admiration and amazement from some students. The atmosphere in the gym began to change. A few quietly nodded in respect, while others remained skeptical and envious. Finally, Davis stepped onto the mat, his cold eyes full of challenge. "Now it's my turn with you," he said, his voice as cold as ice. The match between Malik and Davis was not just a physical contest, but a battle of pride and perseverance. Davis was stronger, more experienced, and knew how to use every trick to overpower the young opponent. He quickly threw Malik to the floor, twisting his arm into an almost immobilizing lock. Pain shot down Malik's shoulder, making him nearly submit. The burning pain along his shoulder made Malik grit his teeth, feeling he might not endure much longer. His heart pounded, breathing quickened, but his resilient will refused to give up. His mother's voice and those who believed in him echoed in his mind. The students jeered sarcastically, "Give up, black kid! We see you now." But in Malik's eyes, there was no fear or surrender. He clenched his teeth, focusing all his strength to launch a sudden sweep. The move was lightning fast, causing Davis to lose balance. Malik spun, locked firmly, and used his final technique, forcing Davis to submit after only 14 seconds. A surprising victory that caused the gym to erupt. The cheers and shouts hadn't yet died down when Davis, flushed with anger and tears of frustration in his eyes, stepped down from the mat. But less than a minute later, the head coach, a middle-aged white man, black belt, named Mr. Thompson, appeared from a corner. He was calm and serious, his gaze piercing through everything. "That's enough," his voice rang out, silencing the entire gym. "I've seen enough." Malik was breathing heavily, drenched in sweat, but his eyes remained sharp and determined. Davis looked at Mr. Thompson but did not dare speak. "He's not just a new student," Mr. Thompson said firmly, "but a true warrior. I've watched that match closely. You defeated Davis, someone many of us respect." Those words were like a cold shower to Davis and the students who had mocked Malik. Mr. Thompson approached Malik, removed the black belt from around his own waist, and gently placed it on Malik's shoulders. Although Malik had just officially entered the academy, his technique and determination surpassed many longtime students. The black belt Mr. Thompson gave was not only a recognition of skill, but a message of perseverance and innate talent. "This black belt is not just an ornament," he said, "but a symbol of persistence, courage, and talent, overcoming all prejudices. You have proven that skin color cannot stop greatness." Malik felt his heart burst. Tears of happiness and pride streamed down his face. "Thank you, coach," Malik said, his voice choked with emotion. "I will never let prejudices, discrimination, or hardships stop me." The entire gym erupted in applause. admiring and respectful eyes no longer strangers. Mr. Thompson looked at Davis and said sternly, "This is a lesson for all of us. Never judge a person by their appearance or skin color." Davis bowed his head silently, seemingly realizing the harsh truth he had once denied. After the applause gradually died down, Malik remained standing on the mat, the heavy black belt draped over his shoulders like both a burden and a glory. His eyes fixed on that simple strip of cloth, yet inside was a sea of mixed emotions, pride, pain, and deep contemplation. In that moment, memories surged back. The times he was mocked by friends because of his skin color, the times teachers ignored him, the scrutinizing, suspicious, even fearful looks just because of a different skin tone. He clearly remembered a time in high school when a group of white students pointed and shouted, "Don't let him on the team! He'll ruin the school's reputation." Then there were the times his family faced discrimination from neighbors, landlords demanding they leave simply because his mother was a single black woman. Each time, Malik felt his heart shatter, but he never let it quench his aspirations. Mr. Thompson, the head coach, approached and placed a hand gently and sincerely on Malik's shoulder. "You know, Malik, not everyone gets an opportunity like this," he began, his voice warm and full of experience. "The black belt is not just about skill, but a recognition of a whole journey, a journey full of challenges that not everyone sees." Malik looked straight at him, his eyes shining with determination. "Coach, I used to think I'd never have this day. Every day I had to fight against prejudice, against cruel words that black people couldn't succeed, couldn't rise up. I was afraid, confused, but I knew I couldn't give up." Mr. Thompson nodded, his face thoughtful. "That's exactly why I value you so highly. Because beyond technique, you have something not everyone has: persistence and a brave heart. In this gym, in life, you have broken the invisible walls society built." He paused a moment, then continued, "This black belt is a statement that fairness and justice always prevail. It tells the world that regardless of skin color, background, or circumstances, everyone deserves respect and a chance." Malik deeply felt the meaning of those words. The belt was not just a personal achievement, but a symbol for the community of black people fighting daily against discrimination and injustice. He thought of his mother, the strong woman who sacrificed her life to give him a better future. Thought of friends, young people in similar situations, still looked at by society through prejudiced eyes. "I'm not just fighting for myself," Malik said with emotion, "but for all those unheard, abandoned in the shadows." Mr. Thompson smiled, his eyes full of hope. "And that is the true power of martial arts. Not only victories on the mat, but victories of spirit and character." The atmosphere in the gym became solemn. Witnesses seemed to deeply absorb the profound lesson. Some white students who had once mocked Malik now looked at him differently, with admiration and respect. Malik knew his journey was still long, that society still held many prejudices to break down. But with the black belt on his shoulders, he vowed to keep going, not just for himself, but for all those who have suffered injustice. He looked toward the exit where daylight began to enter the gym, a symbol of new hope. "We must continue to fight," Malik said, "not with violence, but with persistence, understanding, and fairness." Mr. Thompson nodded. "And I believe you will lead the next generation." As the black belt was tightly tied around his waist, Malik felt not just the weight of the fabric, but the great burden and honor. The neon lights reflecting on his radiant face, a face that had endured so much pain, challenge, and prejudice. He was no longer the skinny boy quietly training in a home garage. He was now a living symbol of change, proof of the power of an unyielding will. However, Malik understood clearly that today's victory was not the final destination. Out there, society was still full of invisible walls that many struggled to overcome. Walls of prejudice, racism, and injustice. He recalled the days of discrimination, being looked down on not only because of skin color, but also poverty. The cruel words, the disdainful looks still echoed in his mind, but now they could not erase his self-belief. Malik knew he had to become a guiding flame for those still lost in the darkness. Not just a fighter, he wanted to be an inspiration, a voice for justice and equality. He began participating in community programs, sharing his story with young people, especially those under the pressure of discrimination. Every word, every action he took carried the message: never let anyone judge you by your skin color or circumstances. You deserve the chance to rise and shine. At home, Malik called his mother. "Mom, I did it!" His voice was choked, tears streaming down. Monica smiled and said, "I always knew you would, my son." They were silent for a moment, only hearing each other's steady breathing, sharing both joy and dreams yet to come. Malik also collaborated with anti-racism organizations, helping promote fairer policies in education, sports, and society. He understood that change did not come from one person, but from communities united together. And no matter how many challenges, insults, or hardships lay ahead, Malik would keep the flame burning in his heart. He knew true light always begins from the deepest darkness. As the gym lights dimmed, Malik looked up at the starry night sky, where even the brightest stars had endured countless dark nights to shine brilliantly. He smiled, filled with hope and faith. "My journey is not over," he told himself, "and I will never let prejudice stop my steps."